All right. I want to talk more about this event, the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I've been speculating in other videos that this was some kind of ritual in tribute to her event. And I'm 100% wrong in thinking that because what both these rituals have in common is this: Saturn worship. And Saturn, this is probably one of the first Gematria lessons I've ever learned, but Saturn is known as the keeper of time to the occult. And both events have this 115 connection, 115. And Saturn, of course, in Jewish gematria is 511, the reflection of 115. And that ties in perfectly because the Edmund Fitzgerald equals 1015. And Beth Short equals 115, the way she signs her name here in this photo. Or actually, I have no idea if she signed it that way or if someone else signed it, but she was known to go by Beth Short. That's because Beth Short equals 115. And she died on 1/15. The Edmund Fitzgerald sank on a date with 115 numerology. And you see how the Edmund Fitzgerald ties in perfectly with this. 115, the reflection of 511. And think about how the 0 is just a placeholder for 1. And think about how 100 is a product, or 1,000 is a product of 100 times 10. So the place value for 15 is still the same there. You see? It's the place value for the 1 that's changed, but you get the same effect as 511 or 115. So both these events, very much two big, very Saturn rituals. And there's much, much more to this, but what I think I figured out is going on with the feminine symbolism. With Beth Short, she was obviously a female, very girly, and then you get a ship. Ships are associated as being female, and then water is female energy as well. And you get the destruction of the female. You see, it's like a Saturn ritual. And it's all about this destruction symbolism of the divine feminine. And think about how, Saturn is associated with death. But you see how it all ties in perfectly together if you know who they're worshiping. Once you know who they're worshiping, everything becomes really super clear. And if you don't know that, that's why both these events are shrouded in mystery, because they don't know of this concept. Most people don't. And honestly, this is why the true crime community really needs to learn this information. Honestly, there's no point in reaching out to the Gematria community with this information because they already know. But a topic that's brought up quite often in true crime is the occult. You always hear of the occult. And some of the biggest, most mysterious murders, like Jean-Benet Ramsey, Scott Peterson, Teresa Halbach, and Elizabeth Short, all events shrouded in mystery. And the true crime community is trying to figure it out, and they can never figure it out. But once you know Gematria and you know what the occult is all about, Saturn, the real keeper of time, then the riddle is solved. The mystery, there is no more mystery behind it. We know who's behind Best Short. And the Edmund Fitzgerald, the sinking is shrouded in mystery. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they're doing it. But going back to the destruction of the feminine, the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in 1975. November 10th, 1975, feminine equals 75. And I think the reason why there's the Blue Dahlia connection with the dubbing of her media nickname. So they say they combine the two, the fact that she wore black a lot, and that at the time of the murder, this Blue Dahlia film, and the Blue Dahlia came out before, on April 19th, 1946. And what's interesting about that is that film, the day it came out, from that April 19th, which is a date special to the Jesuit order, April 19th, 1946. 38 weeks in 5 days, I believe, her body would be discovered. And so you see how this all ties in with the destruction of the divine feminine. And Elizabeth Short also equals 75. And the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior, the largest of the Great Lakes. And you see how it ties in perfectly with the Catholic Church? The Catholic Church is obsessed with the divine feminine, and they worship the Mother Mary, which is symbolic of the Vesica Pisces. And the Vesica Pisces is symbolic of the divine feminine. You know how the Vesica Pisces looks like a womb, and we all come from the same place. We all enter this world from our mother's womb. So you see how it's designed perfectly for this destruction ritual. And time equals 47, and Saturn, like I said, this is probably one of the first gematria lessons I learned. But time, and guess who did the champagne christening for the Edmund Fitzgerald? It was Elizabeth Fitzgerald, the wife of Edmund Fitzgerald, who they named the businessman, who they named the ship after. His wife did the broke the ceremonial champagne. And the christening ceremony and the launch happened on June 7th, 1958. And the reason why they chose Elizabeth to break the champagne bottle is because Elizabeth equals 47. Just like how time equals 47, it all connects back to this right here. Saturn. And you see how perfectly her nickname and the ship's name tie in perfectly with 83. Sinking equals 83, just like murder equals 83. So to add more to the female symbolism, there's this aspect of the moon, and the moon is symbolic, is feminine. Moon equals 51, just like November 10th leaves 51 days left in the year. And moon also equals 15. The day of the sinking has numerology of 15. And of course, Elizabeth Short was found on the 15th day of 47. And when you write out 15 as a word, where is that? Actually, I'll go back. I'll start with another point. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'll get back into more of the moon symbolism. And keep in mind, this happened on a Monday, and Monday is named after the moon. And it also happened on the 314th day of the year. In the moon, when it's at its fullest, is a circle, which pi, this number is symbolic of circles right here. The pi in the sky, the two pi's, the sun and the moon. So, and I'm going to get into the captain, Captain Ernest M. McSorley, the captain of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I'm going to show you how perfectly it ties in with Saturn. So you see black has this value of 106, and black is the color of Saturn. So perfect to have a sinking as being a part of this ritual. And the name that was encoded in the Black Dahlia, this goes back to pi, but the name that was encoded in the confession letter that was found on Pi Day in 47, which was Ed Burns, who they attribute to Ed Edwards. Ed Burns equals 106. So you see how perfectly that all ties into Saturn. And look at McSorley. McSorley 106. Not to mention the 38 and 43, just like sinking. So what's special about the captain is the fact that he's born on the day that leaves 93 days left in the year. September 29th, 1912. And think about how 12 is the reflection of 21. And 12, there's 12 signs in the zodiac. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is it safe to say that Saturn rules over the zodiac? If you know, in light of how important and how long people have been worshiping Saturn. But that's a whole nother topic. But, here he is, a key figure in this big Saturn ritual, and he's born on the perfect day for it, September 29th, which also ties back into Saturn because black equals 29, Edmund equals 29. Elizabeth Short was born on the 29th of July, just like McSorley was born on the 29th of September. And what's even crazier is his birth numerology, September 29th, 1912, has numerology of 69. Let's see if I could find that. You see 9 plus 29 plus 19 plus 12 equals 69. And he's born on the day that leaves 93 days left in the year. So pretty crazy. But when you spell out his name, when you just add his middle initial, Ernest M. McSorley, 69, just like Saturn. And Elizabeth Short equals 69. And he's got the whole 201 thing going on, the special number to the Society of Jesus. And I wonder if that is if 201 is the same thing as this, 21. Because you see how the place value of the 1 is the same in 201. It's the 2 that now 200, a multiple of 100. It's the place value of the 2 that's changed, but the 1 is still the same, just like in 201. It has the same place value. So, this guy's everything about, he's got, the whole Saturn thing encoded into his whole life. And you see, just like the Black Dahlia murder, it was just one big Saturn ritual. But here's the real kicker. From his 63rd birthday that year to the day of the wreck was 42 days. And of course, Saturn equals 42. So in case you didn't think it could get any more perfect than the fact that he's born on the day that leaves 93 days left in the year, and he has birth numerology of 69. One of the other, probably one of the most well-known wrecks of all time, the Titanic, happened on the 106th day of the year. So, pretty crazy. And something that I just discovered today is what's crazy is the fact that black cube of Saturn equals 57 in the most pure cipher. The reflection is 75, and moon also equals 57. The construction began for the Edmund Fitzgerald in 57. So I thought that was an interesting connection. But Cronus, which is also known as Saturn to the Romans. I think it's Cronus. Let me get the right. What was Kronos? Huh. Saturn, Roman. Yeah. Oh, what was I spelling it with a? That's why. I'm spelling it with a K. There we go. You see how Cronus equals 27? And think about the 27 club. And they say one cycle for Saturn is about 27 to 29 years. And then I believe, and I could be wrong on that, but, or is it 30? Well, let's look it up. But they say, oh, I forgot to, Cronus, Greek, but Latin Saturnus. Sorry, probably not the best idea to be doing research in real time, but and like they say, all roads lead to Rome, and the Catholic Church, which was basically the only thing to survive, that Catholic Church has lasted thousands of years while empires have fallen all around them, and they're stronger than ever today. I mean, ask yourself, how is that even possible? But, the Catholic Church came out of the Roman Empire, they say, the only thing to have really survived power-wise. But they worshiped Saturn. And I think Cronus was the same as Saturn, but that's how the Romans referred to him, Cronus. So I thought that it was interesting that it had a value of 27, and we get all these very ritualistic deaths that are centered around the number 27. Let's see here. I think I will get into the next topic. I talked a little bit about Basquiat's death and how he overdosed at the age of 27. And Basquiat, of course, in the most pure cipher, you could see why he's perfect for this ritualistic death. And he's what I would consider maybe one of the lesser known members of the 27 Club. The most popular of them being Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison. Maybe Brian Jones. I think you would say he's maybe the least popular of all those, but he's a well-known member of the 27 Club. But just like they say Janis Joplin died from a heroin overdose, as they say Basquiat died from a heroin overdose, and that's because overdose has this code, has 103 encoded into it. And that's special because 103 is the 27th prime number. So, what are the odds that, and a lot of people say, and it's really funny to hear people talk this way, but some people say that there's nothing behind it and it's purely a coincidence. But they think that because, and this is a good example of how the occult works, they think that way because it's hidden from them, hence the occult. And keep in mind, occult has a value of 88, just like how the Elizabeth Short murders took place in California. And Elizabeth Short, is it Elizabeth? Yeah, Elizabeth equals 88. And I need to expand on this more, but I think this number is special to Saturn worship as well. Because I was reading on a website where they were talking about this, but I'm not going to do real-time research. It's kind of boring. But moving on, his full name, Jean Michel Basquiat, perfect for sacrifice, both with a value of 170. And you'll see a little bit further down the road from this presentation how those numbers 1 and 7 appear, but in a different value in the form of 107. And what's interesting about that is kill equals 17. So look at the value of 27 club when you just, and what's interesting is club equals 38, just like murder equals 38. And when you add the value of 2 and the 7 to club, you get this value of 79, just like murder. And what the club is really all about is they've all been secretly murdered in a ritualistic fashion. So starting with Brian Jones, he was the first in this succession of well-known musicians to die. And it all starts in the year 69. And I shouldn't by now have to explain, if you're a Gematria practitioner, decoder, or whatever you want to call it, you know how special that number is to Saturn because Saturn equals 69. So here you get the start of these people to go out by the numbers, and Brian Jones being one of the first. And what's interesting is, so he was the first, and it happened on 7/3, the first of this 4. And then Jim Morrison was kind of the last, who died in 71, and he died on 7/3, the same date as Brian Jones, July 3rd, 2 years apart. So isn't that interesting? And overdose equals 71, and Catholic Church equals 71, just like how Jim Morrison died in 71. And then it was kind of like the last of these 4. So, and I think he was found in the pool, just like how Jim Morrison was found in the bathtub. Jones. Okay, we'll just, because I want to confirm that, because I'm pretty sure, yeah. Huh. This one says he died at the age of 26. 40. That's weird. I thought I saw the other day he was born in 43. But what's crazy is he's got the 228 birthday. Death equals 228. Hold on. I could have sworn if he's born in 42. No, that may be. I'm probably tripping. Oops, sorry. Well, it's not even working right now anyway. 1942. Sorry, sometimes this takes a while to load. Let's see if it will load. Oh, okay, it finally did. Okay. Bear with me real quick. Whoops. Yep. Okay, it's the other, I think, is it Jimi Hendrix and Joplin might be born in 43. Maybe Jim Morrison, but so they're saying he's 26 right here. I don't know why they would say that. And it's Rolling Stone who reported on that. Yeah, well, this one says. Anyway, so he was found in a body of water. Just like how Jim Morrison was found in the bathtub. And yeah, so crazy there. And hold on, let me look if there's actually water in the bathtub. Jim Morrison bathtub. Walking the night, playing second, took a hot bath. Okay, so he was found in a body of water. So, isn't that crazy though that both dead on the same date, 2 years apart, and found dead in water? Both dead at the age of 27. And I'm going to get into more crazy coincidences surrounding Jim Morrison. But, you know, when you look at the gematria behind sacrifice, it's clear why July 3rd was chosen for the special ritual. Sacrifice and ritual sacrifice both have value of 73. And Rolling Stones equals 73. So it's crazy he's got the 228 birthday. And from his 27th birthday in 69 to July 3rd, the date his body was found, the date of his death, was 125 days. And that's special because when you write out 27, it equals 125. And here he is a member of the 27 Club. But look at this. And this was kind of a revelation to me because Saturn is known as the Timekeeper or the Keeper of Time, however you want to put it. But what's crazy is Timekeeper equals 163. And 163 is the 38th prime number. But Brian Jones equals 163. So crazy if you take into the consideration of, the whole Saturn thing that I've been talking about and how Cronus equals 27. And let's see, how long is a cycle of Saturn? Saturn cycle. So I found an article that said 27 to 29. So that could be a coincidence. This one says Saturn. Well, let me spell it right. To every sign of the clip, 3-ish years. So it takes a full. So, but if you think about how they kind of would be coming to, well, 29.5. You know, this one says 27 to 29. But it's about, I guess it's safe to say, roughly 30 years. Yeah, like I said, Club has this value of 38, just like murder and killing. And here you have a murder club. So moving on to Jimi Hendrix, who died at the young age of 27. 1 year later, after Brian Jones, and he's dead on the 18th, and 18 plus 9 equals 27. And what I found interesting is he's dead on the day that leaves 104 days left in the year, and zodiac equals 104. And he died before Janis Joplin, who died on October 4th, 10/4. So zodiac has this 104 thing going on. And I've seen that number a lot, and I've wondered the significance behind it. And it could be this. But you see, he's born on the 27th of November. Another 27. Hendrix equals 107. Brian Jones has this value of 107. And ritual sacrifice equals 107. And it also equals 170, which is not unlike the 107. And you see how it ties in perfectly with Saturn. Janis Joplin equals 69. Jimi Hendrix equals 69. Just like how Brian Jones died in 69. So I think it was 16 days. So hold on. Let's see, I wrote that somewhere. Yeah, so it was 16 days later. Jimi Hendrix, so he dies on September 18th. 16 days later, Janis Joplin dies on 10/4 from a heroin overdose. And look at the numerology of her date of death. 10 plus 4 plus 19 plus 70 equals 103. So you see the similarities in the death between Janis Joplin and actually all four of these people, but specifically Janis Joplin. They're both dead at the age of 27 with the overdose connection in the prime number relationship. So, and there's probably more of a Saturn connection than Basquiat, but take a look at where they found his body. Great Jones Street, 201. Just like Society of Jesus equals 201. And Saturn equals 21, which is not unlike 201 if you take away the zero. I mean, as we all know, zeros have no spiritual power. They're just placeholders. So further expanding on how Jim Morrison and not Jim Jones, but Jim Morrison, and Jim Morrison's name has always reminded me of Jim Jones because the whole Jim thing, but Brian Jones. But get this. So it was from Brian Jones's death to Jim Morrison's death. They're both dead on 7/3. It was 730 days. Span of time from the death of Brian Jones and Jim Morrison. So you see what a perfect ritual the whole thing really was. And I know I'm not the first to report on this. This may be old news, but no matter how, the decode methods are always the same. So the ritual is always going to be the same. So I'm just reporting on the same stuff that probably multiple people have covered. But if you don't look at it through the lens with the glasses, so to speak, it's kind of shrouded in mystery. You're like, what are the odds that, these four very well-known musicians at the time all died at the age of 27? And keep in mind, Basquiat was a musician, but he was most well known as an artist. He did make music. But look at something I noticed today. What is it? Graffiti artist. Yeah, graffiti artist equals 73. Just like sacrifice, just like ritual sacrifice. And, Basquiat got his start as a graffiti artist. And you see the 163, the 38th prime, Timekeeper equals 63. I wonder what his graffiti name, Samo. What is that in Jewish? Anyway. But there's more on Jim Morrison. So seven, I mean, what are the odds? 730 days after Brian Jones. I mean, you couldn't have, I don't want to say script because it's not a script, but I mean, maybe it is because the world's a stage. So you can get a better look. You see the span of time and how perfectly it all fits in together. And His place of death, Paris, France. Special place. Um, Something I found interesting, this Greek phrase that's on Jim Morrison's gravestone. And in English, it says, against the demon within thyself. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Kind of unrelated to the numbers thing, possibly, but everything has a hidden meaning. So from his 27th birthday to his day to death, 207 days. To really cap off the numbers behind his death. And there's probably more, but I wanted to keep it simple and just kind of focus on just a few numbers, 27 and 73. And, the 107 and 170. But yeah, they scripted it perfectly. That's for sure. And there could be more there. There could be more. I'm sure there is. It's an endless rabbit hole, really. But yeah, I just wanted to keep it simple and show people that, and I know I'm probably mostly preaching to the choir at this point, but the true crime community should really embrace this information. Because like I said, a topic that's brought up again and again, by the media, by other, researchers, the police, the FBI. And I want you to think about, I'll bring up the Lacey Peterson murder again. And I want to show you the representative who I believe wrote a letter to the Supreme Court saying that he believed that her murder, it was actually the work of a satanic cult, which it 100% was. But it's just one example of how the occult is brought up. And Ed Edwards, who is wrongly associated with her murder, maybe not wrongly, maybe that's the wrong term I'm using, but they say Ed Edwards was very much into the occult in that he did things very ritualistically. And that's 100% right, but it's not just one person. It's a group of people. So let me find I kind of forgot that she was a teacher, substitute teacher. I wonder if there's anything behind her estimated due date. February 10th. Okay, let's find it because I want to expand on that. And if you're an internet sleuth or, you're into true crime, you need to learn this practice so you could see through the deception and the mystery. To me, this really takes out the mystery behind events like this. Let me see. Maybe that's a topic for another time. And once again, I'm doing real-time research, which I already said I don't want to be doing, but Yeah, the representative who saw through the deception, the obvious framing of Scott Peterson, and even the media. There was a time when the media was here. Just there was a whole period where they're saying, making this satanic cult connection. See here, Lacey abducted by cult. Scott Peterson's lawyer suggests Lacey died in a satanic ritual. On and on, all this stuff. And they're 100% correct. And Gematria is the proof. You could kind of speculate, but once you know how they orchestrate their rituals, then you kind of have proof of the cult that's behind it. So, anyway, just throwing it out there. Thought it was interesting information. And I think I'll call that one. Have a good day.